Hello, welcome to Precontation Points Video Snark. I read books and talk about what went wrong. I'm continuing my read-through of Alienated by Melissa Landers. Not the first video, go check out the others. Links are posted below. Chapter 4. They get back to the Sweeney residence where Elix has literally nothing nice to say about anything, and I get that there should be a measure of culture shock here, but at the same time, Kara's parents don't seem to be behaving themselves well. Sacred Mother, when the man wasn't speaking insistently, he was practically copulating with his wife in public. During the flight from Manhattan, Bill and Eileen had rained kisses on each other nonstop. The ambassador had warned him about this, but still, were these humans incapable of self-control? In Elix's defense, seeing a couple you don't know constantly playing tonsil hockey would make anyone uncomfortable. When Eileen shows him to his room, he's grateful that they went out of their way to undecorate the space for him. And then he has a moment of remorse because they're being so nice to him and he's being kind of bratty about the entire thing. Eileen says that she'll leave him to go get settled in and goes downstairs to start dinner. He had been given Earth clothes to try and fit in, but he's apparently never worn anything other than the uniform of his people his entire life, which is a weird concept to me because while I'm familiar with the idea of wearing a uniform, at some point people take them off on their days off in the evenings, so to wear a uniform 24/7 even in bed is kind of weird, but whatever. The scent of strange food began to permeate the air, and he wondered how he'd choke it down without retching. He'd practiced eating earth fare, but he couldn't tolerate the overwhelming flavors. Seasonings were used far too liberally here. Should have sent them to the UK. They don't like seasoning either. Actually, the more I think about it, the more I'm certain that the proper British folk would get along well with the aliens. In the next room over, he hears Kara start to loudly and badly sing to some music. Almost against his will, he smells at how terrible that it is. He also thinks about her round, pale bottom, which, nope. This is going exactly as you might expect. He thinks about how he played chess against her in the trip back to her home and how he kept winning, which, is anybody going to mention how odd it is that the young man who grew up on another planet with no contact from Earth until a few months ago is a chess master? I get that chess is an old game, but come on. The eagle has landed. Really? Really? Are we really going to do this? Kara writes about how Halo had been literally rioting in the streets and how they'd even overturned a mercifully empty car. Domestic terrorism indeed. However, she struggles to come up with words to describe what happened during her first meeting with Elix. Obviously, she's not going to talk about how she'd accidentally mooned him, but she also can't find nice words to describe the awkward 6-hour flight back to her home in which he'd said nothing, ate nothing, and drank only water. Plus, his dead eyes gave her the creeps, and she's obviously not going to say any of that either. He'd won in less than 5 minutes, seriously 5 minutes, even though he'd never played before. Well, at least that answers one question. Although it baffles my mind that he looked at these strange pieces and somehow was instantly a chess master, the narration never says that she taught him how to play either. Kara gives up on trying to write her blog post and goes downstairs to do literally anything else. However, she finds a box of delivered pizza on the counter and her mom crying against her father. She thinks that this is all Troy's fault for having abandoned the family yet again. Eileen reacted like this the last time he'd left and cried for a week solid. Kara comforts her mother awkwardly and then turns to leave, only to almost run into Elix. She warns him not to go in there and agrees to lose another few rounds of chess to him simply to keep him away from the kitchen. As they play, she tells Elix about how her dad fell apart when Eileen was sick. It was not long after she got sick that Troy left the first time, which I'm sure did wonders for Eileen's already broken mental health. Although it was during that time when Kara was completely and utterly alone except for her friends where she learned to be independent. Well, I'll take her life lesson because of her mom having cancer rather than because her parents were abusive jerkwads any day. Kara asks him if the alien's cancer cure for her mom is permanent. He agrees that it's not going to suddenly wear off one day, but also asks if she really trusts him not to openly lie to her face. Kara tries to ask him about his family, but he says that everybody is basically a clone now, that they used to have this extensive breeding program, but it was phased out 20 years ago, so now everybody younger than that is a clone. He says he doesn't have parents, but that everybody on the planet is his family. They finish their game and Bill calls them to come eat. Kara explains pizza to him and breaks down the individual ingredients. She is of the opinion that somebody who has spent their entire life eating the equivalent of boiled chicken and carrots is going to actually enjoy eating something with spices on it. However, to the human surprise, Elix almost instantly spits out the food into the napkin. He says that he can live on supplemental injections, but obviously Kara pish-poshes over the idea and says that they can find something he can eat. They asked what color to paint the room and went out of their way to do it, yet they couldn't be bothered to ask what he'd like to eat or for the elite people to send over a list of acceptable foods. Elix says no, that he's feeling sick after one bite of pizza. He doesn't want to risk anything else. Kara randomly thinks about the time Tori made her eat oysters and she'd vomited them back up, so she talks to him about his trip to Earth, which helps him take his mind off from how sick he's feeling. Chapter 5. Elix wakes up in the morning and has an intense wave of homesickness. Since the room is decorated like how his dorm on his own planet, he imagines for a moment that he is back home. He takes out a communication device and uses it to call the other two in China and France. Iran has found a fast friend with the host's little cousin, but Cyrene is still apparently being sexually harassed by her host. Elix encourages her to kick the creep in the groin to set the record straight. They talk some about planting the mysterious thing that they brought with them from their planet, but they all need time for that. Iran is pulled away to go play with the little boy, and Elix says goodbye to Cyrene. Elix goes to the shower but runs into Kara outside. She stares at his belly, and he says that since they're all born in artificial wombs, nobody has belly buttons. They also think about the number of toes the other have is unusual too. Elix makes a crass comment about human mating. When her eyes turned into slits, he knew he'd said something wrong. I'm sorry, is Kara a cat now or something? What is happening? Kara continues on and says that she made breakfast. Elix can smell the bacon and he would rather not eat it, but doesn't want to anger Kara further. He wishes her a happy birthday and says that he got all of that info from the file before he came down, which is funny considering that he doesn't even want to be there, but yet he somehow is making a better attempt than Kara to at least pretend to be nice. In the kitchen, Elix is floored to find the table bursting with a lot of traditional breakfast foods. She says that her parents went to Mass, and Elix makes a weird passing remark upon the Christian concept of God. Kara says that she made a lot of food to try and find something he would like and only asks that he try a little of everything. The actual eating is glossed over, but it seems as though he doesn't like anything. He talks about how he's kind of gained weight since the gravity on Earth is heavier. Since Kara is determined to try and feed him something that he'll enjoy, he tries to describe a breakfast flatbread from his own planet. She then starts talking about what they're going to do that day, but he interrupts to ask that wouldn't she rather spend her birthday with her friends instead. She quickly brushes Tori and Eric off as being at away games, which sounds like a handy excuse, but says that they'll be at the party later, except that she doesn't exactly seem happy about it. Because both of them have decided to be racist. Kara goes to get dressed and meets Elix out in the yard. She says that the weather can be kind of wonky and predicts that they might need sweaters again next week. Elix only finds her ginger hair under direct sunlight to be too much for him to take and has to look away from her. She asks about the climate on his planet and he says that they have weather control. And humans are fairly close to achieving climate control, I would say within the next 200 years. That is literally the exact opposite of fairly close. I'd say 20 years is fairly close. 50 would be pushing it, and if it's beyond your current lifetime, then that's the distant future. Elix also thinks that it's wrong of the elders to give people of Earth the cancer cure because it'll only make them want more from them now. He describes the planet, saying that they usually keep the temperature around 70 degrees. There are only 2 continents, and there's more ocean. City sprawl is pretty contained, and most everybody lives in them. The sky is gray, but it changes color throughout the day. And 3 moons, because of course there are. Plants do not photosynthesize, but grow from the air, which makes them insanely brownish. They start to go inside to Google the phrase, put your foot in your mouth. As they're going, Kara accidentally brushes against his arm, and he has a weird feeling that's not quite unpleasant. Later, Eric comes over and is openly rude towards Elix, so rude that Elix wonders why Kara is even with him at all. You know it's bad when even the other characters comment on how mismatched that they are. Tori comes in and she's equally rude too. Elix understands why Kara was upset earlier and thinks of how worse it's going to be when he starts school tomorrow. Elix tries to soothe over Tori, but she clearly wants nothing to do with him. Kara tries to break up how awkward that everybody is by inviting them to have cake. Elix gives her the necklace. As she expresses delighted surprise over his present without even opening it, Elix is pleased with her reaction. She is even more pleased with the actual necklace and thinks that the jewelry rock from his planet is beautiful. Tori teases Eric about what he could have given her, which prompts an outrage from Eric. He tells Kara that she can't keep the necklace, and holy cow, dude, you did not just say that. We don't tell women who they can accept gifts from. Elix pointedly tells Eric that it's hardly Alix's fault that Eric brought an inferior gift. Eric drags Kara over to the corner and then mocks Elix and asks if he wants to come and watch this. However, Elix isn't stupid and knows that it wouldn't be wise to stay out from a situation like that. Eric tells Kara that he gave it a shot, he doesn't like Elix, and that he's got to go. Kara says that Eric didn't try very hard and says that maybe Eric should be the one to go. Eric pulls Kara further into the house and Alex is about to follow after them, but Tori tells him not to, that maybe Kara actually will dump the jerkwad. Seems Tori's hate for Eric beats her fear over Alex. Eric storms out from the house a few minutes later. Kara comes out and Tori comforts her. Alex is at a loss for what to say or do and offers to go get Eric back. Kara rejects this. She eats a bunch of cake to make herself feel better. She then tries to put the necklace on but has trouble with the clasps, so Alex does it for her. He gets kind of weirded out about her neck and the scent of her shampoo. As the two of them look at the necklace pendant, he thinks about what his plans would do to Kara, but decides that he has to consider the greater good, which doesn't include somebody like Kara. He says goodbye to the girls and goes to his room for the night. Chapter 6. Take me to your cheerleader. Are we seriously doing this? Kara makes a blog post about how her mom took a billion pictures of Alex for his first day of school. She's trying to remain cheerful in her post, but after the latest goes live, she knows that today is going to be miserable and awful. But she is of the opinion, never let them see you sweat, which is a good motto to have. She puts on makeup as well as a necklace Alex had given her. She and Eric had broken up yesterday, and she feels like it would be one final F you to him. As she goes downstairs, she thinks about how she'd caught Alex shirtless the morning before and, calm down there, girl, don't make me get out the hose. Outside, Alex asks if she's alright after having broken up with Eric. And then he goes on to say that he doesn't know what she'd seen in Eric anyway. Hips of that width are likely to pass live offspring without complications. The boy really knows how to pay a girl a compliment. He's trying though, which is the thought that counts. Kara cuts him off and asks if he's scared or even anxious, and goes on to say that she was so anxious for him that she couldn't even eat much breakfast. Alex returns to what Kara calls his zombie mode and says no. As they continue along, they run into Tori. Alex hurries ahead to simultaneously give them privacy and to get away from somebody who clearly doesn't like him. Tori tells Kara that she's there to be the jock blocker. Oh, by the way, have I mentioned that the narration is going out of its way to keep things pretty PG-13? I would normally be annoyed, but I'm reading this for YouTube, so it makes my life a tiny bit easier. Tori explains that she's there to stop Kara from making a mistake in either trying to take Eric back or to go crawling back to him. She goes on to say that it's obvious Kara dressed up extra nice today. Kara can only complain that she hopes Alex doesn't have friends like Tori, or else her time on the other planet will be awful. Tori runs ahead to catch up with Alex and asks how she's supposed to know that Kara will be safe on his planet. Safe? Alex repeated with a smirk. Last year, your Tri-County reported 67 murders, 1,000 cases of assault, and over 200 rapes. There hasn't been a reported crime in Lahir in 10 generations, and you're concerned about her safety there as opposed to here. He has a good point about the violence in America, but at the same time, he's given literally no reason why Tori should trust anything he has to say. Which Tori is quick to point out, thankfully. Alex says that the lack of violence is due to extensive breeding programs, but Tori says that the math isn't adding up. Human nature is human nature, and sometimes things slip through, but Alex is quick to point out that he's not human. Kara tries Tori for bothering Alex, and Tori tries to call Kara out. But Alex gets angry and says that it's not his or Kara's fault that Tori doesn't like his answer, which is fair. While I complain that he's given her no reason to trust him, he's also given no reason to distrust either. At this point, this is largely writing on Tori's preconceived notions about him rather than actual facts. When they get closer to the school, they hear signs of Halo protesters, but Tori is quick to point out that Alex has groupies by means of people who are holding up signs that are much nicer than Halos. They go inside, where Kara can tell from Alex's body language that he's uneasy and upset over the entire thing, but they're quickly distracted by the can we not? By more groupies, whom the narration introduces us as being Lanabees. Stop it. Get some help. Anyway, these girls are dressed like the aliens, and one of them eagerly starts to ask Alex a slew of questions. Kara can tell that Alex is getting overwhelmed by everything, and she tells the Lanabees that the aliens are deathly allergic to the chemicals found in hair dye. Since all of them have dyed their hair to match the uniform brown of the aliens, the girls quickly disperse. In class, Alex correctly answers a question the teacher asked. When prompted as to why he knew that, Alex says that he studied Earth history during the trip to the planet. The teacher gets upset with the rest of the class, saying that a literal alien who came here less than a week ago shouldn't know more about Earth than its own residents. Nice going, L. Donkey Wipe. Wow, nice insult there, unnamed bully character. Did it take you long to think of that? After class is over, Kara pointedly tells Alex that he can't go around saying that he casually studied all of human history in a couple of hours. He's going to get jumped if he keeps saying stuff like that. Alex says he doesn't care. They go to the cafeteria where they make a beeline for where Tori is sitting. Despite her anti-alien rhetoric when she was introduced, I guess she'd rather remain friends with Kara, which I feel like other people should do to take notes about that. As they walk across the room, Kara notes that there are a lot of girls who give Alex heart eyes, but most of the looks are nothing but stink eyes. As they sit down, a girl named Brandy, yes with an I at the end, comes over and starts off her introduction to Alex by saying that she thinks that he's hot. Kara isn't impressed and thinks that Brandy is being really rude. To add insult to injury, Brandy asks Kara if it's true that she and Eric broke up and if she can ask him out. Kara snaps back saying that Eric is probably looking for an easy rebound. Ouch. But Brandy doesn't seem to understand when she's being made fun of and casually mentions that the boys' lacrosse team are going to a strip club. I'm sorry, how old are these children supposed to be? I'm not going to repeat what the book said about this place, but know that it is disgusting and vile. Kara is naturally upset over the entire thing and doesn't say much after that. Brandy asks about the other aliens and Alex tells her a bit about his planet's former breeding program. Kara asks if he can get home okay because she has to go grocery shopping, and Brandy eagerly volunteers to escort him home. Later, Alex complains to his friends about his miserable first day, but seems to be more focused on the sexual harassment rather than the name-calling. Maybe because he was bracing for it, but not how forward that people like Brandy would be. To be fair, Brandy had followed him home and had been almost impossible to be told to leave. He's interrupted from his call by Kara setting the smoke alarm off. He runs downstairs to find that she attempted to make the alien flatbread she described for her yesterday. Alex feels so bad that he'd made her lose everything, and because of his future behavior, he worries that she won't even get the scholarship. So despite the fact that she burnt it, Alex takes a bite. He lies and says that it's great, but the two of them start laughing over how bad that it is. They joke about how Kara's bad cooking will end possible alliance between the two species. Thanks for listening to my book Snark on YouTube. New videos are up every Monday, but stick around because I sometimes drop random videos on other days too. Just as a reminder, even if you can't financially support me, there are other ways to help me out. The first is watching this video as well as all my other videos. It's also important to like and subscribe. Finally, you can share this video with all of your friends so that they can help as well. If you're already caught up with all of my videos, you can go to Tumblr for my main book Snarks, always free and updated every morning. And if you've already read all of my main Snarks, then you can find even more Snark on my Patreon. You can access it for $1 a month. Members also get early access to my main Tumblr Snark. Special thanks to Dawn, Phoebe, and Nikki for supporting me on Patreon already. If you want to hear your name in my video next week, either support me on Patreon or make a one-time donation. Do you like my Snarks so much that you want me to snark your writing? I do that too. For just $6 per chapter, I will tell you how awful that your writing is. But not to worry if you feel like you couldn't take the criticism. I also offer regular book editing as well, just 1 cent per word. You can contact me on any of my social media platforms if you have further questions. If you want to read some of the things that I've written, you can purchase my works on Amazon. I have a slew of erotic short stories and now 2 full-length novels. I also sometimes run flash sales on my stories, and if you don't follow me on any social media, you might want to do so just so you can know when I might be offering more things for free. Links for everything will be posted below. See you next week, guys!